Hey guys, welcome back. This is SirClud, and we're currently in the Water Temple of Ocarina of Time. Let's see what we can get done. So, last time we talked about Fable, I ranted a lot. Ugh. There's always been one thing that was fun about Shadow Link in most of my subsequent run-throughs. Whenever I do a 100% run-through, Shadow Link becomes significantly harder because his health is based off of however many hearts you have. It's pretty easy just to screw yourself over if you're like me. No. And you just have all the hearts you can up to this point. And it just makes the fight take longer, and it can get nasty. He has improved AI in later versions, so... Oh my gosh, I remember this from screwing me over so much as a kid. I wasn't even locked on to you. Nope. Damn it. Not my proudest moment. Not at all. This is one of those games that really does have a lot of memories for me. When I was, like, this is one example, when I was younger, I was probably in about 5th grade at the time. My sister was 16 and she thought she was on top of the world and was doing everything in her power to rebel against my parents, and the last day of her sophomore year, she went with her boyfriend over to his house and she ended up getting pregnant, and we did not find out until later that summer that she was pregnant. And I remember at the time I was doing one of my run-throughs, and this was actually about the part where they informed me that she was pregnant, and that was actually something weird to me, just... Ugh. It did cause a lot of issues, to be honest. 16-year-old sister, pregnant, still causing a lot of trouble. She would actually get like alcohol from her friends and do a lot of drinking. It was a very hard year for me. My parents were fixated so much on my oldest sister that they ignored me and my other two sisters and all of our needs. Here's why we need the broken sword, by the way. In case you guys are wondering. I don't know. It was a weird year, and my second older sisters actually started to resent my parents because of how much attention they had to give my other older sister, constantly watching over her, making sure she would stay away from her boyfriend, making sure she wasn't doing anything that would endanger her child and stuff like that. And it led to a lot of interesting things. There was a huge debate at one point with my parents over if we should actually put the kid up for adoption, and this is actually one thing I remember very well, because at the time I was playing the original Zelda, and that's what I'll always associate the original Zelda with now. So, originally we were going to put my kids up for adoption, and the people who were adopting him to were just friends of my mother who worked at the middle school where we all went. So, what was very, like, these were very good family friends, and I remember just, they'd constantly be over. Me and the husband of this couple actually went and saw SpongeBob SquarePants movie in theaters because my mother didn't want to, and pretty much we were just trying to become like one big family because they were adopting my niece, and it was fine until one day they got into some fight, and the husband just like ended up beating his wife pretty severely and left all these bad bruises, and so my mother and my sister kind of freaked out and just called out the whole thing, and they got really upset. And at the time my mom was also working at the middle school, and this lady just made such a huge stink about it that my mom had up believing it. It's like, well, of course we had to put up a stink if he's abusing her. Imagine what he would do to this child if he misbehaves over the years. And believe me, she does a lot. It really just, it's one of those situations that also started to divide my family, because my dad still wanted to put my niece up for adoption and just believed it would tear our family apart. And don't know, that is really the first time I really started to just get into politics of the family. What is going on there? Ugh. But yeah, that is still an issue to this day. My mother has not really forgiven my father over it all. Ugh, come on. In retrospect, I don't know what was the best decision. My sister didn't end up keeping her child, but my sister isn't exactly the smartest person, and she, over the years, did like drugs, drank a lot. I remember one night she got so drunk and angry at a rampage that she broke into our house because she wasn't living here at the time, and like we're scared to give her baby at the time because she was so drunk and wanted to go driving and all this, that she like kicked down a door and actually hit my mother. And then also she was living with her boyfriend again at the time, who originally knocked her up, and he got so mad at my niece when she was about 2 that he ended up hitting her and just left all these bruises. And these are situations that could have been avoided if we did end up putting my niece for adoption, to be honest. And as horrible as it is, I honestly am a firm advocate with my father that it might have turned out better in the long run, but we're at a point now where things are probably okay. Probably. My niece is spoiled, rotten, and lacks discipline because my sister's not a very well, that's a nice way to put this. Yeah. One thing I will say though, family politics can get very sketchy. Try to avoid, especially with my family. We're people that can get very angry, and yeah, when people try to argue with us, it's like, no, this is not going to end well for you. We're angry people, trust me, you don't want to get in it with us. Especially my older sister, the one that didn't get pregnant. A couple years ago, our dogs were just outside barking, and my dad was so sick he couldn't even get out of the bathtub just to go out and stop them. And so our neighbor just got very furious, and when my sister got home and went out to deal with it, he just started yelling at her and wouldn't stop, and so she just finally told him to go F off, and like, actually said, no, fuck off, and got so angry, and it eventually got to a point where we had to go to court to settle the whole case, and my older sister scares me. Skeleton here. I'll talk about that court case at some point. That was a very interesting thing. Actually, I can tell that story now. I have a lot of time. Okay. So, after that whole F-off incident with my sister, and a neighbor decided to just call it in as a case, like, to animal control, that we weren't controlling our dogs. When, actually, truth be told, it was his dogs in the first place that started all the antagonizing. He was often... Oh, Ocarina time and your bugs. And so... my mother, of course, went to Warren, so... she actually got evidence that his dogs are the ones that bark a lot, and reported him for the exact same thing. And so she lawyered up, got a delay date, and just dealt with court. And so normally I wouldn't have gotten involved being a senior in high school. Like, okay, wasn't any of my concern. I shouldn't have cared. The only reason I ended up getting involved was at the time I was taking a government class, and at the time we were talking about the whole judicial branch and all that fun stuff, and so in that class you had to do some things outside of school to help with your... What just happened? I honestly don't know. So, like one summit, we had to go to a caucus meeting in the fall. We had to register to vote and all this stuff. And so one thing I decided I could do and got it marked off with the teacher was just go and watch a court case, and it actually went to court. And so it was just one of the funniest things ever, to be honest. This guy was defending himself, and it's like, okay, this is a neighbor feud, and then so instead of just fixating on the whole, oh, my dog's barking, he was trying to contest his animal control ticket. He was going on about how my mother's crazy, and how this was all our fault because we were the antagonists and blah blah blah. And the whole reason I found this funny is the judge is like, finally, okay, this is just ridiculous and waste of our time. Kiss and make up, or just you'll both end up paying fines. I was getting just such a laugh out of it. They probably spent way more time and effort. I mean, I think it was something like $150 fine. They probably spent more time and resources than $150 each just contesting the fines in the first place. And then just to be told to kiss and make up by a judge, and oh my gosh, that was... Oh... Boy. I try to remember this kind of crap. Okay. Dive, dive, dive! Ow. Let's see, which way is it I want to go? I think it's the west one, isn't it? It's the north. Okay. Actually, one thing I did like a lot about Ocarina of Time 3D was how they did the item system. Because they just made boots an equipable item, and yeah, that made life a lot nicer. Didn't have to open a menu every time to switch boots. Made this temple a lot faster. We can do it, Link, we can do it. Ow. Okay. No. Fine. You guys suck. As long as there's not a rock that comes down. Hey. Howie. I've never seen anyone. Okay. Okay, playing this on a TV, to be honest. You can't tell this that was a bombable while I'm worried about you. That one is slightly better, more disguised. Slightly. I don't know why I'm associating this room in memory with the second Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game. I don't know how that works or why, but that's just what comes up. Especially the part where you go on like an expedition and you end up fighting Groudon on this one cave on top of like a giant mountain or whatever. I don't know, my memory association sometimes is very weird. Ugh. At least this isn't as bad off as... what's it called? Great Big Temple. Oh, it's that time I can stop rambling for filler. Alright, so... once we get this switch down, we're gonna cut. Next time we'll most likely finish out the Water Temple and see what life has in store for us, alright? So... next time.